guys, it is super windy at my farm again, but this video is going to be about how I ruined the flowers on my farm this year, what I'm going to be doing about it next year. But on a positive note, it was a really good week. Okay guys, so I think I figured out how I killed all these flowers and why they look like this and how it's going to change next year. So my flowers right here look like it is the middle of September and it is only August 20th. Why do they look like this? I think I have the answer. Look at these zinnias. They are suffering. Look at them. I don't even have blooms on the top of them. Last year they were abundant and beautiful, and even my ageratum look really struggling. Everything looks like the cold weather is coming in, except it's not. Hey everybody, welcome back to Horton's Flower Farm. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Claudette. I own and operate a U-Pick flower farm in Zone 7B, Long Island, New York. This is my 4th growing season, and you would think that because it's my 4th growing season, I would have this down perfectly. But this year, a couple days ago, I realized I don't have it down perfectly. I did a really bad job this year. I ruined my flowers, and I'm going to tell you why. So I was going through the cottage garden yesterday, and one of my hoses was broken. It was spewing water everywhere. I had a puddle and it was leaking. And I looked at my flowers. I said, these flowers look like they're dying really badly. And they had been getting water for an entire week, way too much water. And a light bulb went off in my head. And I said, what if these flowers here, because they look like they're dying, have gotten too much water? So I did a little research on how much water the flowers need, and I did a little calculations on my drip tape, how long it was going for, everything. We calculated everything out, and it came out to be that I am severely overwatering my flowers. And that, I think, has been the problem on this farm for the last 3 years. So you're probably saying, well, why did your flowers look so great last year, Claudette? You were watering the same amount of time. And actually, last year for 2 weeks, our irrigation broke and the flowers were not getting water for 2 important weeks where the flowers were at their peak. So because they weren't getting water last year and had been overwatered, they actually did really well. So let me tell you how much we were overwatering by. We were overwatering by, and this is embarrassing, 80%. We were watering 2 hours a day on our drip lines to all the flowers. And with the calculations, we're only supposed to be watering 2 days a week for an hour and a half for each of those days. That's a huge difference. And when I researched what plants look like when you're overwatering them, this is exactly what they look like. Now the problem with this whole system is we were in a drought, and the first year also we were in a drought, and I was worried that they weren't getting enough water. So we started this whole thing off in a drought year. We're a drought year again, and when you think there's a drought, you're like, oh my gosh, let me water the flowers. I don't want them to die. And sometimes what they look like, because they're overwatering, so they can look like they are needing water, when in reality there is actually an excess of water, and that was actually what is happening. So I think that's the problem that they're having, because cosmos and zinnias are drought tolerant plants. So that much water, there's no way they should be looking like they're looking, and that's what they look like. The cosmos are looking like they're getting burnt, and that's what the stems look like. So a burnt looking stem on a cosmo is actually overwatering. So did I mess up my farm this year? Heck yes, I did. But this was one of my best weeks. I had a huge Saturday sales yesterday, and it tells you that even though I've messed up my flowers and they don't look peak of what I wanted them to look like, my business is still doing the business that I had hoped for. It was a great weekend. It was a great week during the week. It was a great weekend, and also that's because we were low on humidity. The temperatures were a little bit lower, so everything went a little bit better that way. Now the question becomes, it's August 20th. This looks like it's September 20th. Will these flowers last me until at least the end of September? Because I need to get at least 4 more weeks of sales out of this. at this pace to break even. So I have my fingers crossed. We turned down the watering. We're hoping that by correcting it, we will at least extend the season a little bit. We are putting the right amount of fertilizer in. So we're crossing our fingers that we can at least get in 4 more weeks until the end of September, and that would break us even for the season. And the one good part about this is I have a back planting of zinnias. I'm gonna walk back there and show you. It was a succession sown, directly seeded zinnias. And I said, you know what, let me do this just in case something goes wrong. And thank goodness I did, because now if people are coming and my front zinnias take a hit there, which they did, and they don't last me through the next 4 weeks, the back zinnias will, because they, even though they're starting to look overwatered, because they are, I think that they can be corrected. So let me go show you them. Let me just show you the cosmos and what they look like, the bottoms of them. Do you see how they look like they're dying? You could say like, wow, they look like they're overwatering, like if you're in a drought. This is actually what they start to look like when you're overwatering them, not underwatering them. So they start to die like this, and that's not what they should look like. So my succession planting of zinnias was back here by the cottage garden. There's the cottage garden. And we're back here, and they're looking much healthier. There's a lot more color, as you can see. They're not completely dying at the bottom. I mean, this one is, but I mean, there's a lot more color. This looks really pretty back here. Just pan here, right? So I have a whole section back here of the monarch butterfly. So it's looking really good back in this area. There's a lot to pick off of. Oh, look at those 2 monarchs over there. Pretty. Look how pretty. Oh, look at both one. Oh, 3 monarch butterflies. Wow, I never saw that. So yeah, the monarchs know it's healthy back here. Okay, so as you can see, this zinnia section is doing so much better than the other section. So I have these, and I would say this is probably, I would say about 80 feet of zinnias, which is awesome. And that's looking good. So they'll have this to pick off, and that will be okay. This will get me through. So thank goodness this happened, and I have a succession planting of zinnias. I'm really happy about that. Let me just show you. I had planted Sunflower Steve. If you guys know, Sunflower Steve did a line of Van Gogh series sunflowers. I have 3 in bloom, so I want to show you what those look like. So this is the first one now. It almost looks like a teddy bear one. It's very cool. And then this one almost looks like a bicolor. The lighting is weird, but it's like a reddish maroon. This one looks like a pure lemon. So that one didn't really. But so this is what they look like. I'm going to pull back a little bit. I have a couple more waiting to open. So we'll see what those look like. But very pretty. That huge one, like the teddy bear, is just beautiful. You look closer, you can see like brown on it. It's very interesting. These are the florets right over here. I talked about them last time, how I wasn't impressed with them. There's not a lot of really full doubles. The colors are okay. You know, I went back onto Florida and I looked at, you know, hers, and she did a video of her field, and you know, they don't really look like that. I mean, they're pretty. They're just, they don't look like what they show in the picture, but they're pretty. Just pan my cottage garden real quick, which is an overgrown mess of weeds. I tried to weed, but the thing that's doing the best in the cottage garden are the celosia. The celosia are huge. They are, let's see, they're tall as me. They're like 5 feet. No, I'm taller than 5 feet, but they're 5 feet. I mean, they're doing amazing. Look how pretty this one is. The celosia. So you can see, if I put the camera here, how tiny these are. These are like not even, that's like 8 inches tall. Look at how tiny the heads are on this. If I hold it up, look at how little. They are like super miniature, and I'll go on this side. Super miniature sunflowers. Isn't that crazy? Look how tiny this one is. This one's like not even 6 inches over here. Look at this with the grass. And it's just a complete pile of weeds, which I guess people use pre-emergent, but I don't use chemicals, and this is what happens to me on my farm. Okay guys, so this is the update of the farm. This is how I ruined my flowers this year. I'm still smiling about it. Probably because I had one of the best weeks. Anyway, even with ruining my flowers, so that goes to show you, you can mess up royally and still have a successful season. And that's what happened this week. So, hey, that happens sometimes, right? So I do have a plan for going forward and for next season. I will not be overwatering, but here's the thing. You have to water your seedlings a lot. It's different. They need more water at the beginning before they're established, before you can go easier on the water for the season for established plants. Hey guys, thank you for joining me this week. I will update you how the next week goes.